Hello and welcome to ModSpot, the mod review and tutorial show. I'm BonBonB and you're very welcome. Well, if you're new to the series and new to modding, I highly recommend watching the first 90 seconds and first 90 seconds only of the video linked to in the top right hand corner of your screen at the moment. Go and have a little watch of that. It'll cover all the disclaimers and the dangers behind modding. If there are any dangers at all, then come back and watch today's show and everything will be fine. Meanwhile, we'll carry on with today's show, and today's show we're going to be focusing on Boogieman Sam's Cinematic Camera Extended. Now, first of all, question 1, why is it extended? Question 2, where do you get it and how do you use it? And question 3, what does it do? Well, why is it extended? Very brief history lesson here. Cities Skylines was launched on March the 10th, 2015. Within a week, a modder called iCob had created a mod called Cinematic Camera. It was a very good mod. Anyway, just over a year later, October 2016, Boogieman Sam extended the mod with some added functionality and a better user interface. And then he most recently updated it on May 2018. To this day, at the time of recording, still works perfectly fine. Highly stable mod, very good mod as well. So that's why it's Cinematic Camera Extended. How do you get it? Well, simple. The link is in the description of this video. Click that, it'll take you to the Steam Workshop page. Hit the subscribe button there once you're obviously logged into your Steam account. I'm sure you will be. So hit the subscribe button. It'll then load into your game. Give it a few moments to load into your game, obviously, and then launch your game. Go to Content Manager, Mods, find Cinematic Camera Extended. Hit Enable. That's that little blue button there that enables your mod, and then launch your game, and your mod will be live. So what does it do, and what doesn't it do? Well, Cinematic Camera will give you cinematics. It's as simple as that. Camera fly-throughs that are pretty if you've got skills. Because like with anything, you can set it up and it can look great, or you can set it up and it can look dreadful, down to your camera work. It's, yeah, common sense. What won't it do? It won't record your screen. If you want to actually record your camera work to be able to share it with others via social media, then, well, you are going to need a screen recorder, a screen capture software. One of the most popular ones with YouTubers, the top YouTubers, is one called OBS. It's free. It's not the most user-friendly. There are others. You may have one that you already use that you prefer. That's fine. Just use whatever you like. But you will need one if you want to share your cinematics outside of the game. If you just want to watch them in the game, then this is a perfectly fine mod for that as well. Right, let's have a look at it, shall we? Let's hit the escape button. And down here in the bottom right hand corner, having launched your game with the mod enabled, you'll see a little button. It's like a clapperboard. There it is. And it will say Cinematic Camera Extended and then the version number, in my case 0.5.1. So we'll click that and it'll open up the mod box. Here it is, the user interface for the mod. It does drag. I'm quite happy with it where it is. It's not in the way there, and it's just about the right size, so I wouldn't want it any bigger than this, to be honest with you. So what does it do? How does it work? Well, it kind of splits into two sections. You've got all the buttons and the controls at the top here, and then this bottom part will be where all the information is stored and you'll be able to review it. It's really quite straightforward, actually. So let's start off by setting up a very simple cinematic. We'll start off by pointing the camera in a way that, how about something like that? And now what you're going to do is we're going to be setting up a path. This button here, add new point to the path. You'll be using this a lot. We'll hit the plus button there, and suddenly we've got point 0. Point 0 is the first point on the path, and this here, this camera position here, is where our cinematic is going to start from. I'm going to move the camera using my W key. There we go. I'm going to hit plus again, And I'm going to move the camera again. I'm going to press plus again. Just a straight line. It's a boring cinematic. What do you expect? Okay, and now if you want to see how that has turned out, you can then hit this little play button on the right hand side. So hit play, and this is our cinematic just cruising along like that. It's fine. It's pretty much what we expected it to be. What does this slider do? Well, this slider is the playthrough. This is everything here, but instead of jumping from point 0 to point 1 to point 2, you can just like roll it forward, roll it backwards. You can see how that works, can't you? It's not difficult. None of this is rocket science, guys. None of this is... If you can't manage this, you're going to have to find yourself something a lot more simple to play. The tic-tac-toe online, that would do it. Right, next up, we have got the playback speed. And you can watch the video at, say, half speed, quarter speed. Let's have a look at quarter speed, shall we? So press play, and everything's now running a lot more slowly. Now, this is going to take a lot longer to get to the end. Now, if you want to cancel the playthrough, the hotkey is the C key. I'll tell you how that works. The hotkey to launch the cinematic camera extended is the C key. We shut that down, it's gone. Rather than hitting the button down here, if I just hit the C key on my keyboard, it calls that up. So if you're playing back your playthrough, let's say it's a 40 minutes long cinematic that you've spent a week setting up, and you realise you made a mistake, C key just calls up the mod box. Simple as that. Okay, I'm going to reset that to standard 1-to-1 speed. Okay, so next is FOV, field of view, and that is how much of the map you can see from your camera position. If we come down here, it's kind of like the fisheye lens. If you've got yourself a digital camera, and I know most of you probably will have, this is all that is. If we push the camera, the setting right the way to the, well, move it down a little bit, you can see it's closing in, and then if we push it the other way, it's splaying out. And it's all down to the field of view. And if I just elevate up a little bit, and it's like, well, you get also really weird angles using that. It's lots of fun to play with this one. You've seen that horror movie thing where they focus on one set item. Let's say in our case it might be a tree. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it with this because it's a bit fiddly, but it can be done. I have experimented and done this with a building. Set the camera down behind the item. Where are we? Let's say this tree here. We'll focus on this one here, and then you'll capture the point, and then this time you'll move the field of view to a different point. Get down behind the tree again, exactly the same location, and then press play, or having captured the point again, and the tree will stay absolutely static, but the background will zoom in and away. Oh, sorry, yeah, I've just hit the mic. Zoom in and away, and basically it's a great effect. So that's something that you can play with. So there are things that you can do that you don't often see in Cities Skylines. So if I replace that to 100, and I'm going to type in 100, it'd be a lot easier. 100. There we go. I'm trying to place it exactly. FPS, frames per second. Now that is particularly handy. It does actually say in the mod's description, if you're getting a lot of lagging and stuttering, then you can set the FPS to a lower frames per second, because the simulation will always be actually in time with the frames. So 1 frame equals 1 simulation frame, and it's just it'll just slow it down. It'll slow it down, give the game more time to capture every single frame. You can also use a mod called the speed slider to do pretty much exactly the same thing, which I've got running at just under half speed. Okay, next up, hide UI during playback. Well, you may have noticed during that playback a second ago, we'll do that again, we've got this bar at the bottom. This is ugly. These buttons, they're ugly. We don't want to see those, do we? Check that box, and it's all gone away. That's much better. Then Unpause Simulation. Now this is a good one. You might be setting up the simulation with the pause on, because you might go, this is great. I've been waiting for this petrol tanker to enter this service station, and I want to capture it coming out, and I want to see it entering into traffic. And you might have this great idea, but by the time you set the simulation up, that truck could be gone. So what you can do is you can pause the simulation, like as we have done here. I'm going to just delete that one. Delete these 3 here. I'm going to capture that. I'm going to budge it across a little bit, capture it, and then budge it across a little bit and capture that. Right, so we're just going to have a little animation, little cinematic with the camera moving just a little bit. If we press play, look, it's all static. There's no movement in the trees, there's no movement in the water. This isn't what we had in mind. So instead of starting the simulation to record, if you check that, this will actually unpause. As soon as you press play, there we go. We now have movement in the water. And once the cinematic finishes, after 4 seconds of recording or playback, because we're not actually recording, it pauses again. So there we go. That's a neat little trick there as well. So we've got these 3 points. We know that these will replace us to those absolute points that we previously recorded. But let's say this last point, I'm not entirely happy with it. I'd rather it was like, I don't know, like that. There you go. We want to finish pointing at the sky. It's ludicrous, I know. You would think maybe delete the thing and then just replace it. There is a shortcut, and that's this one, which is recapture the camera position. So by hitting that button there, we now capture the camera position like this. We'll do that playback again like this. So we've got nice sensible playback like this, and it goes, way, tip the camera right the way up like that. Yeah, I know, it's rubbish. Let's go back roughly as we were before. Something, I don't know, something around about there, maybe. Auto. I'm telling you now, 90% of the time you'll want it set to auto. This is the camera easing, being does the camera speed up into the scene? Does it slow down out of the scene? And yes, if I set these to none, you'll soon see that play just got straight in. You go bam, straight into the action. Whereas if we go into auto, it'll smoothly, well, I can actually set that to in actually. There we go. So I'll do that with just that one there. And this one, it's slowly, the camera starts moving before getting up to speed. And yes, everything's like messed up because I played about with the positions, didn't I? So there we go. You are almost certainly going to be happy with auto all the time. You can have it set to zooming out slowly, zooming in slowly, in out slowly, yeah, or none, which is basically just goes straight in at full speed. Right, this is the duration. Let me delete these 3 again. I'm going to reset this one, and we're just going to do a little cinematic to about there. And we'll come around to about here, and we'll put another one in about there. That should be plenty. Now, this is 2 seconds between point 0 and point 1. So between there and there takes 2 seconds. And then between there and there takes 2 seconds. And between there and there takes 2 seconds. And between there and, well, this 2 seconds doesn't count for anything at all. Ignore this, it's pointless. It's just until you add a 0.4, then it's 0.3. It's not pointless at all. Okay, let's say you want to take it a little, say we want to speed it up as we're going along. Let's start off, we'll have 1 second in that one, 2 seconds in that one, and then 3 seconds. You'll see the whole camera slowing down here. So it starts off fast, then it starts slowing down, and then it's going to take 3 seconds between the final points like this, which might be a bit further apart. Once again, I'm just slapping these down very slapdash. The more time you take on it, the better your cinematics will be. I'll replace those back to 2 seconds. Next up, this is the delay in seconds. The only reason I can think of for this is if you're recording and you really want to focus on a building or an intersection where there's all sorts of things going on. So you want to cruise in. Let's say we really want to focus on this part of the U-bend of the and we're going to pause on that for 1 second. Are you ready? Press play. So we've got 2 seconds, and then it's going to stop for 1 second, and then it's going to accelerate again away. So that's what the delay is for. I'm sure there are uses. I've never used it myself, but there we are. This is your field of view, so you can switch between field of views. We could start with, I think, a 50, go with 100, and then we'll finish with the 150. See how that looks. And you'll see the camera completely changing as we are flying across. It's an amazing cinematic change. Absolutely adore that. And we're finishing back at the 100 because we had that one there. We set that to 200. That would make it a lot more interesting. Let's try that. So yes, through here, and the camera is just, whoa, look at that. So cool. Loving that. And it looks like we're speeding up, but we're really not. That's an amazing thing. So that's all that done. Now, let's say you really like this and you want to save it because you're going to come back and record it later, or it's a generic fly through that you want to do on every single city that you've ever built, or you've got an old save and you want to go back to that old save and record this very same fly through on the city before it got to this point. You can do that. You've got the save and load button down here. You just need to type in here a name for the save. We're going to call it Cine with the capital letter switched on. Why not? That'll do. Press save, and there it is. Now, tip of the week from BonBonB. I've used this a lot, and the amount of times I've had to hand place all these places for all these cinematics, I've had to do it dozens and dozens and dozens of times, and that might mean I've got to remove a whole bunch of these. It might be 20 frames long, 20 points long, and you're having to remove it, and we'll just load that one back in. There you go, because one click away from getting it back. If you've got a save called blank, which is blank, let's click load there, that will automatically clear. It's like a delete button. So that can be 40 different entries in there. Tip of the week, just have one called blank, and it will load it in, and that will clear it. Just don't accidentally save something into blank, otherwise your blank is no longer blank. And nobody wants a unblank blank now, do they? Right, so that is basically all there is to it. If you've got a save here and you don't want it anymore, you can just hit the cross button, and that will delete the save. So what we'll do is we'll just do one last fly through, one do cinematic, and we'll try and do a smooth one. Shall we just go along the length of the river? So we'll do one. I'm coming down a little, trying to keep it low. We'll do one there. And if you try and have them equidistant, it makes it easier to judge the scale. So I normally tap the keyboard a number of times and keep a mental count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I'll do a little turn in the angle of the camera. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And a little turn of the camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And a little turn of the camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And a little turn of the camera. Just position the camera with the same sort of distance. That's the important part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And a little turn of the camera like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Little turn of the camera. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this map that we're recording on today is Hesperus by Kent. Again, this is linked in the description down below. It was ranked the second best map of the month of May by the viewers of What's Map. So if you want to grab that one, the link is in the description. Very nice map. Got some really interesting skiing routes as well. Right, so anyway, what we got here is a whole bunch of points. Let's press play, see where that takes us. Probably a little bit faster than we'd like it to be, but let's just make sure it's good smooth fly through so far. It's not too bad. We'll come across this way, yeah. And it's just gently flying, following the path that we just set for it. That's not bad at all. We could change the frame rate on it just to slow it all down. Speeds up a bit at the end because I hurried that last one down. So move that back just a fraction and recapture that last one there a little bit closer. And I might want to take just a little bit longer. Set these all to 5 seconds, or not 55 seconds. Common mistake there. Don't need to do one on 7 because that's the very last one. I've missed a couple there. Let's go right back to the top. So 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds there. Everything else is good. And then we can start recording, which we're already doing for the sake of this tutorial. And now it's taking 5 seconds between points, and it gives us a nice slower fly through. And then I can record this. I can play this back at a higher speed for a more dramatic fly through effect. And hopefully, yeah, we've got a bit of tree pop in, but wow, what can you do about it? What can you do about it? Anyway, that's about it. I hope you've got one thing out of today's episode that you didn't know before. If you did, then I have done my job right. And if you've never used the mod before and you feel like you really fancy using it, do let me know in the comments how you get on with it and whether it's just the solution that you're looking for. Well, join me Monday to Saturday for What's Map, where we try and find you the right map for your next city build. Do a different review every single day of the week. And we do all sorts of other things on the channel. I don't know why I'm telling you. You should know that already. Just hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You'll never, ever miss another BonBon treat. I've been BonBonB. You've been very, very welcome. Thanks very much for watching.